You're standing in the grocery store with that little running total going in your head, not because you're some budgeting savant who color codes spreadsheets, because you genuinely don't know if the card's going to go through. So you put the name brand cereal back. You walk past the meat counter like you weren't going to buy any anyway. You decide you don't really like avocados. Then one day, years later, you're in that same store and you realize you just threw whatever you wanted into the cart without flinching. No running total, no spike of panic at checkout, and the strange part, nothing dramatic happened that week. Something just quietly shifted. Here's what nobody tells you about money. It doesn't get better gradually. It gets better in jumps. And here's the part that should scare you. If you don't know where those jumps are, you can earn more every single year and still feel exactly this stuck. There are 3 of them. Miss them, and a bigger paycheck just buys you a bigger version of the same fear. My name is Nick, and I spend an embarrassing amount of time thinking about money, specifically why some people feel completely broke at $200,000 a year and others feel free at $70,000. Today we're mapping the 3 exact points where life starts feeling different, and I'll warn you now, the third one breaks a rule you've believed your whole life, that more money, always. Maybe you shave in the mirror as one every morning. A few years ago, Kyla made $46,000 a year. On paper, that's a functioning adult with a job and a car and a kid. In practice, Kyla lived on a treadmill that kept quietly speeding up while she ran in place. Remember that treadmill? It's the villain of this entire video, and it's going to show up 3 separate times, each time a little faster. Here's the map for the next 20 minutes so you know where we're going. Each of the 3 levels kills exactly one fear. Level 1 kills the fear of drowning. Level 2 kills the fear of every little decision. And level 3 kills the deepest one of all, the fear of needing the next paycheck to survive. The dollar amounts are just the scaffolding. The fear that disappears is the actual story. So let's go find the first one. Level 1, the drowning line. Here's a Tuesday in Kyla's life at $46,000. She wakes up a few minutes before the alarm because her brain is already running the numbers. She skips the coffee she actually wants for the gas station one. At lunch, she checks her balance before she taps her card, and she does it with the phone tilted down so nobody at the table can see. That evening, her kid mentions a $35 field trip, and Kyla says, "We'll see." Which they both already know means no, because $35 is the exact amount that has to stay in the account in case the check engine light comes on. She falls asleep doing math. That's not a budgeting problem. That's the drowning line, and most of this country lives directly on top of it. The median household in America makes about $83,700 a year, an all-time high. Which sounds like wonderful news right up until you realize that the most money households have ever made still leaves the majority of them treading water. Here's the stat that should genuinely stop you cold. According to the Federal Reserve's own survey, only 63% of American adults could cover a surprise $400 expense using cash. And 1 in 8, roughly 13%, said they couldn't cover a $400 emergency by any means at all. Not with cash, not with a credit card, not by borrowing from a friend. $400, a car battery, a trip to urgent care, the thing the universe does to you on a random Tuesday, and it makes brutal sense when you see the other number. The median savings account in this country holds somewhere around $8,000. Not the rich people, not the broke people, the middle. $8,000 standing between the average household and total chaos. Meanwhile, about 62% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck right now, at the single richest moment in recorded human history. Sure, 73% will tell a surveyor they're doing okay financially, but that number's slipping, and doing okay is doing an awful lot of heavy lifting in that sentence. Doing okay is what you say when nothing is technically on fire, but you haven't looked at your savings on purpose in a while. Cool system. Love it. So, level 1 was never about getting rich. Level 1 is about getting your head above water, and for a single person in a normal cost part of the country, that line sits somewhere around $50,000 to $60,000. For a family of 4, it's more like $90,000 to $100,000, which you'll notice is right around the national median. So The median American family is balanced on the exact line between drowning and breathing, and where you live cranks the difficulty knob hard. The median household in Mississippi makes about $59,000. In Massachusetts, it's nearly $114,000. Same country, same Netflix price, same $14 sad airport sandwich, and a $55,000 gap in whether you're underwater. Now watch what happens when Kyla finally crosses the line. She claws her way to $58,000. Not life-changing money, just a couple of raises and a slightly better job. But suddenly, there's a small pile of cash sitting in an account that exists for exactly one purpose: absorbing the universe's punches. The $400 emergency stops being apocalyptic and starts being merely annoying. She stops doing math at the gas pump. The field trip is just a yes. That's the entire prize at level 1. Not a boat, not a vacation, the ability to exhale. And if that sounds depressingly small to you, yeah,